Hello.
Hello. Oh, yeah, I can hear you much better. This is Seema.
Hi. So I received your case from our intake unit. It looks like you're having an issue in small claims. Is that correct?
I would also be looking for my only problem right now is that money has been stolen from my accounts. But I have a few very simple, easy, winnable cases, and I'm wondering if you would be interested in working on more than one that might be covered through this wonderful, generous help offer. So the first where there is a court date would be this DNF. Did you have a,
Okay.
by any chance, did you hop by my website?
Yes, I did review your website.
Okay, yeah. So for everything I'm sharing with you, there's evidence, there's names, there's leads, there's recordings, there's lookups, and I feel that the cases are very easily winnable. I just came across a group that is not dangerous. It's like a customer service group has is working together, and they're just stealing stuff from people, but they're not dangerous. And this DNF presented me, if you have seen it already, it even looks as if the second letter is fake. That doesn't even look like an official court thing. I never had a PayPal credit card. I didn't know they even issue any. And I was in a fake hearing.
Okay. So DNF Associates is a debt buyer. They buy debts from different organizations and then they try to sue to collect on them. Um,
They can't have
what?
bought them because it doesn't exist. And the company is run by fake identities. They are impersonating people that might have existed at one point or not. But they impersonated a law firm called Doberstein Law Firm that is also represented by fake identities, like they have stock images, and the person on this court document appears to be a missing person from Ohio. So it's not this lawyer, and I have a part of this hearing recorded. These are all fake identities, and they will not be able to even prove that they have purchased a debt. They also deliberately on record. So I have this recorded. The also fake in my mind, impersonated um, county court, and that just appears to be a lawyer by the name. She has like 20 variations and different names. Katrina Child Rhodes, and they said that I haven't been served. I had never heard from DNF, and I feel before you file a claim, isn't there a regulation you have to reach out once? And she on the record said they tried to serve me, and they've been told by a current resident, it's an old address, that I do not live here, live there. And then they still sent the order to appear at this hearing 2 days before the date of the hearing, and you could tell that they were just really surprised that somebody even showed up. So in my mind, this was just an attempt that I never know about this hearing, and that I get a bad remark into my background report. They cannot have purchased this debt because it doesn't exist. Then they deliberately tried to serve me at the wrong address, and I would like to get a payment from them for that. And then they have two options really. Either they can claim that these persons who were, yeah, that's the other thing. This lawyer, Emma Schäfer, has a stock image or a artificial image on LinkedIn, um, represented DNF, and she says for her client PayPal. and they will not be able to prove that PayPal is their client because it's a fake company, and PayPal doesn't work with the Doberstein law firm. And I have been in touch with PayPal the day before and the day after. So it's
So when you contacted PayPal, did they send you anything confirming that you never had an account with them?
I have an account with PayPal. I just never had a credit card with PayPal, and I'm not aware that they are even giving out credit cards. So I was in touch with PayPal the day before because of something else, and the day after. And I also immediately tweeted at PayPal after this hearing. Um, this is not PayPal. This is a made-up case.
Okay. So
And you can also see the court documentation there. And you can, I mean, y- you know more about the law and how things look than I do. I've never been on the receiving end. I've never been a defendant in front of a court or anything. But you can see that the envelope looks really like a fake. So they really, in my mind, falsified the court documents altogether. And they just
so
ended
the
the
court
hearing.
documents I got from so I did get a copy of the court documents from the court. It's a bare bones summons and complaint, but I don't see anything improper about the summons and complaint other than it's very minimal.
There, you see the envelope that I received on the website, and I can also email you information. This whole thing is made up, and it is a fake. You say it is minimal, and it looks as if there is a point to it, but all we gotta do is ask them to prove that they have purchased this debt, that they are legally representing PayPal, and that they even exist, because they don't, at least not with these names.
So, well, DNF Associates is they are a large debt buyer in Wisconsin, and they are represented by Doverstein Law Firm, which is in Brookfield, Wisconsin.
Well, Eric Doberstein is actually reported to be in Las Vegas. And if you do a simple lookup, you just have to do an image reverse search, and you just have to look into the background reports, and you see that these are not the people they say they are. Emma Schäfer doesn't exist. Yet she appeared in this hearing. It was like an afterthought. They were not expecting that I even show up because I normally wouldn't even have known. Because they deliberately served at an old address where on the record they said that they knew I was an ad. So I'm not sure how legal that is. So I didn't even know what the hearing was about. But I did show up because I had a USPS forwarding order so that I still received this, but never any documents, just a two-page invite to this hearing.
So, did you update your address with the court when you appeared?
When I appeared, I gave them the mail address, yes.
Okay. So, typically, if they attempt service at one address, if they're unable to, if you update them, they have to attempt service at the next address, and then they can proceed to do it with publication on it. If in regards to the debt itself, if you are claiming that you never had a PayPal credit card,
Yeah.
then you can complete a fraud affidavit and submitted and state that you never had and look to have the case dismissed due to fraud
Hmm.
if they're trying to collect on a credit card you never had.
Yes, and I also want them to prove that they purchased it because this is also something that, in my mind, will help a lot of other clients of yours. These two companies are fraud. They are taken over identities or fake identities. And if you, I understand you don't have that much time, I guess, but there are also lookups on the website where you can see that these identities don't check out. These are not the people they say they are, and you cannot just say a different name or use the identity of the background of what is listed there. Jillian C. Well,
Caggiano?
yeah, exactly. This might be a missing person from Ohio. There are no convincing life signs of her. And I also tagged her into these claims on LinkedIn. And I'm not sure if Doberstein at this time still has, or DNF still has access to their LinkedIn profile because I reported it as fake. And what LinkedIn then does is it just tells you, well, please send a copy of your ID. And if you can't do that, you can't get back into your profile.
So, well, Jillian, I went to law school with Jillian, so I know Jillian.
Wonderful. That's wonderful because then you could know if you speak to her if it's really her. Even if it is, they are just very technically versatile. They're really good with nerd stunts. And this is in the context of the search in missing people. And I'm sure now that this is in the back of your head that you will notice more and more things where you think, oh yeah, this was a little strange too. These two companies are fraudulent companies using fake or taken over identities. So in some cases, they appear just to be stock photos with some made up stuff like this Emma Schäfer. And Jillian, I also think she exists and she might also be in trouble. She might be stalked too. I don't know about that. But I doubt that she is working for Doberstein at this time.
Okay. So, what you're seeking to do is challenge the underlying PayPal account and also demonstrate that this card never existed in the first place, correct?
I would like to challenge that they purchase this debt, that they exist. I mean, that they use their real identities. And I would like a payment from them for that because this is in the context of a large stalking campaign, not just against me. I just happen to come across a ton of things where I can show this is fake. And again, I have a part of the hearing recorded. And if they want to say that this is an official letter from the Milwaukee court that I received, then I would be surprised too. It looked very different from the first one. They even misspelled PayPal, by the way. And I have a few similar things that would also be easily winnable, where I just want a fine from the people. And I would just need a lawyer who pretty much writes a letter, and I would offer you a fair amount. Like I would even do 50-50 split because it's really very easy cases. And
So,
DNF,
what are the other cases?
let me just have a look at my website. This is a phenomenon that people refer to as gang stalking. Yeah, so there is an article on this Doberstein law firm with a lookup. I'm sorry, one second. I'm just very excited and nervous Because they stalk you poor first, and I've reported this to the FBI. Payments have been stolen from my account so that I'm in a horrible situation. And then they can just think they can, like finish you off and place all sorts of made up things there. And yeah, there. Um, True Connect Wireless, I would want to ask for a 5K payment unless you would have a different, if you would agree to work with me. And my idea was if somebody helps me with that, and it's in part, it's just sending a letter because they have two possibilities then. They either lose their whole fake company or they make this payment. And it sounds a little. It sounds a little much, right? But again, you see proof or um, leads for everything I'm saying on this website. So I'm not talking about anything I couldn't show. And from the order of things, I reached out to, yeah, that's the other thing, but that's nothing I would go after. They were just cleverly with technical tricks taking over certain things where people who are stalked might go. For instance, you see it on my website, so it's not that I just dream things have happened. They hijack the Milwaukee police website. So if I go there, it looks like I'm on the real website of the Milwaukee police, but I'm not. And so victims like myself just get the impression nobody cares, nobody wants to help them, when in reality it is just nerd tricks. There is an endless, but I wouldn't go after it just because it's so easy to see. You're a lawyer, and I'm sure you go by facts. Um, I've been stalked by Amazon, and there's like an endless trail of evidence for that. Amazon has recently fired 12,000 people and changed also their HR approach so that Amazon is now fine. But True Connect Wireless is something I wanted a payment from. Then the Hope House Milwaukee is taken over. And days after I reached out to Hope House for help, this began with this then fake hearing. It might be a coincidence, no? Right? Sometimes when two things happen, we wrongfully think they're connected when they're not. In any way, a few days after I reached out to Hope House, I received an email from a person that is also a taken over identity named Wendy. And I think it's different situations. Sometimes it's just an hacked email and the people are hopefully fine and they just don't have any idea that their email is hacked. I can also show you that my email was hacked. I had no control over my email and I don't even know how long. Everything was hacked. My social media sites have been deleted, but it's only technical tricks. And then I received from a Richard check, but it's also that's like a debt helper. But I don't have debt in my name, to my knowledge. And this Richard check, I received two spam from debt helpers, and these are all fake identities. Then this invite to this fake hearing comes. And Doberstein law firm is fake. And I'm sure and I'm really happy that you said you know Jillian because I don't know if she's in trouble. Because this isn't her. I don't think this is her. And then she would also be, I just looked at her photo and she looks like a very decent person. So I would never think she might be involved in something. But being involved would be the only way that you sit there with. It's a black community who does that, of 80% customer service agents. So DNF, this Doberstein law firm, and once it is out that they haven't even purchased a debt, then I would also want to go after Katrina Child Rhodes for impersonation of a court official. And I don't think a court should take a case when there's no proper documentation that there is a case. Or if it's as easy like that. And there's more. I'm just really nervous because I know if you hear that for the first time, statistically it would be more likely that I'm dreaming. But then again, you just have to look onto my website. And the Better Business Bureau Milwaukee, it's the same problem. They post on LinkedIn, and I found the funeral ceremony of one of them, of one of the staff, and they died in 2022. The family broadcasted and they put it on a video site, the funeral of that person, and they had posted on LinkedIn 4 days earlier. And I posted the link to the funeral. So it's not a dangerous thing. It's just that they are really good with IT things. And so far, people just silently vanished or died and they didn't fight back. They were maybe not as lucky, or maybe they just didn't go to data brokers and have a look. The Better Business Bureau Milwaukee, and I've reported this to the FBI, so from them I obviously don't think I could get a payment, and I just hope that the people are all right. But all of the identities or the profiles on LinkedIn, that's a different thing because my internet was hacked and my phone was also hacked. And the police is trying to get these people also for a long time. So I've shared everything also with the um, FBI with the added difficulty that they use a technique. I don't know how technical you are, so I don't want to bother you with technical descriptions, but they use a certain a product. I'll just call it a product so that they can redirect these IC3 forms. And people just think nobody helps them and nobody cares, but it's just that people don't receive the information. And the way how this hearing worked is they started, and at first it was a gray haired male, and he had Commissioner Rhodes in his Zoom window. And then I said, blah, 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 stalking, never heard of this company, what is this? And then the Zoom connection broke. I don't want to rule out that it was my mistake in any way. The call ended and I went back in. And then suddenly there was a black woman who had Commissioner Rhodes in her Zoom window, and this gray haired man has deputy. And they had lawyer Emma Schaefer on the phone. And she sounded like she was in some bar or at an airport or so, because they likely didn't expect that I would even show up. And then at one point they said, okay, end the live stream. And in my mind, impersonator of Katrina Child Rhodes, who has a bit of a shady background herself, with a criminal thing in her background and also with 20 at least different names. I'm not sure if she would be even servable because the more you look, the less you know where she might be living. And she said to stop the live stream, and she suggested to share my evidence that this firm is fake with Emma Schaefer. Just have to go to LinkedIn and you see that's a stock image or an AI image. So that's a very strange legal advice to someone who identifies, or who not identifies, who states that they are a victim, and that this is impersonation and stalking. And a part of this I have on the record. And as they said they live streamed, they have to have a record too. So my idea would be that if a lawyer would write to DNF and just request this I would request a payment from them and the traceless removal of this even dismissed is bad, right? If they do that 10 times, then I have 10 dismissed cases in my background. But given that they use fake identities, they shouldn't file anything. And that's then, I don't know, that might then also be a legal thing, but I am being stolen from, and I would like to get payments from these stalkers, and it should be really easy. It should really be easy. The only option they otherwise would have is to answer a lot of inconvenient questions. And if you know Jillian, beyond just knowing how her sounds, like if you have a feeling, is that really her? Is that the thing she says? Then you could just contact her and ask her if she really works for Doberstein Law Firm and if she's fine, because I'm worried for her. She used to have a normal. I just go from data brokers and social media, but she used to have a normal life until about 2 years ago, where it like suddenly stopped. The last voter registration was in Ohio, not in Milwaukee. And I mean, they can always get it right, get it wrong. But
Okay. So you're seeking to have the case dismissed and for them to pay you
whatever is
for
the
bringing the case
shortest.
in the first place.
And I would share that with you. And I would like to get this from Doberstein Law Firm, Katrina Rhodes, as a for bodily harm through the stress this all causes to me, because this is really intense stalking. Um, I also, do you know Anna Maria Hodges? She's
She's the deputy clerk
yes.
of courts.
Do you know her?
I've never met her, no.
Okay.
I know she was elected
Okay.
recently.
All right. Yeah, that I would also just in case report to the FBI, because I don't know what is her status. I don't think that this is happening really under her. And it's the same story, right? After this note that she was elected, you don't really find anything about her anymore. And her background report, she's associated with a ton of criminals. And it's just that this black community that does this stalking and is responsible for the search and missing people, and that so many people talk about gang stalking. Um, this is just how it looks, because when they take over an identity, and it's possible that the person is perfectly fine, like they hijacked my website and I didn't even see it from my end. But like my contact form was a Switzerland contact form or something, and they used my articles. But in normal life, I would be a coach. But I'm just stalked for a very long time already. And now this is why I also have so much, because, I just learned to look. So I would like to receive several payments. Also, I would like to go to Hope House, because they cannot, this is also donation fraud. Instead of helping, and again, I cannot make this connection plausible. It's just, a few days after I reach out to Hope House for help, I get these spams for the first time in my life from these debt helpers. And another few days later, I receive this hearing invitation. I would also like to, for DNF, to prove that they ever tried to serve me at a different address. And if any of this doesn't match, then you also have the immediate confirmation that this Katrina Child Rhodes is either a criminal or was impersonated too, because she stated, oh yeah, it was returned as bad address. And then why do you send the invite for this hearing there?
Okay. So,
So in the first step, I would just like to send a letter I could even make a suggestion and I would offer you 50%. I just can't pay you up front, but I would offer you 50% of every um, money we collect, with one exception, and that would be stolen money recovered. But that would all be later topics. I would just really want to start with the low-hanging fruits where one letter of you might just solve the case. If you just, you know, my idea would be just to present it, excuse me, to present it in a way that they can take the route out that they say, yeah, well, we have a problem with one employee. So that they could just say, okay, this happened on our end, but it's not us, and we pay you and we make this go away. That would be my personal. I mean, it would likely be more ethical to, because, if they do that with me, they do that with others. And if you get served at an address where they know you are not, then you don't even have the chance to say, well, show me that you purchased this debt.
Okay. Well, let me let me do a deeper dive. We've gone over the time that I have for that I set aside for this phone call, but
Hmm?
let me take a deeper dive into DNF Associates and uh, Emma Schaefer and Jillian, and I will be back in touch with you. Okay?
How long do you think this would take? Because it's a little time critical for me.
So I will be back in touch by Monday.
By Monday, okay. And I promise you, I also have a look at my website if you want. If you would be working with me, there are a ton of very, not just easily winnable cases, it would also have a ton of hero power because there's a lot of people happening the same thing that's happening to me. And even though they are not dangerous because they're just so good with IT, that you might also help a ton of people except me. I mean, and this would really be a hero factor also. Have a look at this. I understand if you hear that for the first time, and then I'll be waiting for your call, and I can't wait until Monday.
All right, you have a good rest of your day, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.